Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2020-21 season. My name is Dan and today we're talking all about wildcards. Now, I'm not personally doing my wildcard in Game Week 3, but I know a lot of you guys are. A few of you have asked me to make this video, so, you know, ask and I will deliver, I suppose. So, yeah, I'm going to hopefully try and help you with some of your wildcard decisions today, and I've built you what I think is a really, really nice wildcard draft. That if I were to do my wildcard, if someone forced my arm behind my back and said, "You are doing your wildcard this week, Dan," this is the team I would pick. So hopefully you can gain some inspiration from it at the very least. So yeah, if you do find this video useful, please do give it a big old thumbs up. It's super helpful when you guys like the video, so please do consider doing that. But without further ado, let's open up the fantastic animated pitch that will be sure to hypnotize you. If you do like this sort of stuff, I like slightly animated FPL stuff, slightly chatty FPL stuff, please do make sure you stick around. Please do subscribe. Plenty more FPL content to come as always. But yeah, let's kick it off. So as you will immediately see in the top left hand corner of your screen, the team value is set at 100 million and 0.4 million at the end there. So this team is valued slightly higher than probably your average team, but I will explain at the end some good ways of bringing the value down a little bit, just in case your team value is sort of 100, it's maybe just below 100, but I think this is a really good starting point. Some people I know already have much higher team value than this, which is quite crazy, but I thought 100.4, probably a good starting point, and then we can talk about some of the areas we can compromise on. So let's start off in goal as we always do, and we're going to start off with Emmy Martinez. Now, Emmy Martinez is looking off to the side here. That's just because we haven't got a picture of him facing the front yet in his Aston Villa kit. So this will have to do for now. Him facing off to the side, looking into the distance at the team value. Maybe he's a bit shocked by the team value. But yes, he's my number one pick for all of the 4.5 million goalkeepers. You guys will know that I do like a 4.5 million goalkeeper. And I guess in retrospect, Martinez is a really nice one. Just because he performed so well for Arsenal at the end of last season, he's brought up a very large price tag of 20 million. It's a lot of money to be paying for a goalkeeper who's sort of 28 years old. He's not even like a sort of young prospect goalkeeper. So he's come to Aston Villa. Aston Villa at the end of last season already had a really improved defensive record at the end of last season, Aston Villa. I know they struggled at the start in defence, but they sort of quickly got things together, and that was actually really, really good. And a lot of people forget about that end of the season where they were just defensively so much better. They've started off defensively well as well, so they kept a clean sheet in the first game. Martinez, of course, making the penalty save as well. So he's started off with some real heroics. Now, don't expect him to make a penalty save every game week. Not going to happen. But I do think there are some clean sheets in there. I do prefer Martinez over McCarthy, who obviously Southampton are struggling a little bit defensively now. And I guess Brighton, who have never really been a good defensive team, really. So yeah, Martinez is going to be my pick for goalkeeper there. So let's move on to the defence, and you won't be surprised to hear that Trent Alexander-Arnold is the first defender on the team sheet. I still don't understand why anyone wouldn't have Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think he offers so much value. So sort of clean sheets points every other game for Liverpool because they just get so many clean sheets, you know. He gets bonus points as well very, very often. He got one bonus point last week, bringing him up to 7 points, which was a very nice score indeed. And then also with Trent, you've got this real attacking threat, real attacking potential. He's getting forward, he's making crosses, he's trying to put in passes, trying to create chances, and he's on the free kicks. So imagine if he scores a free kick, how many points you'd get for that, and corners as well, which is just, it just offers a little bit of everything that you want in a defender, and that's why he justifies his 7.5 million price tag. And you know, he's a 200-point player across the season. He will score you so many points. So yeah, I like him a lot, and I can't really imagine doing a team without him. If you were to take him out, I think you would have to bring him back in at some point, but I would rather just keep him in now. He's got some okay fixtures, I guess, so yeah, we'll see what happens there. Next up is Rhys James. Now, yeah, those of you who have followed the channel will again know that I very much like Rhys James. He was in my first draft for this season, and in Game Week 1, he obviously scored all of those points with his goal and his assist, which was just amazing. And I like him for very similar reasons to which I like Trent Alexander-Arnold, albeit James obviously in a slightly weaker defence, but offers so much more value at 5.1 million. It was always a case of if Rhys James plays every game week, and so far it looks like he has maintained his place in the defensive lineup for Chelsea, then he's going to offer some real value just because he loves to bomb forward, he loves to create chances, gets those crosses in, put those passes in, and he likes to shoot as well. He really likes to shoot, which we've sort of already seen and he's already proven. So James, really nice. His fixtures in the immediate future are pretty good. West Brom in this first game does look like a really nice fixture for defenders and attackers alike for Chelsea. So that's going to be really nice. And then going forward, he's got some okay fixtures as well, depending on what Crystal Palace show up, depending on what Southampton show up, and then depending on the form of Manchester United there as well. And then going forward, his fixtures only get better as well. So that's a really nice run of games. But if you want to talk about a nice run of games, I direct your eyes to my next defensive pick. And that is Romain Saiss. Saiss, look at these fixtures. All green, West Ham, Fulham, Leeds and Newcastle. Wolves just have an amazing next four fixtures. So for that reason, I think you've got to have a little bit of Wolves in there in some capacity in your wildcard team. Just because look at those fixtures, they're insane. Obviously, Saiss, like James, has had a slight price increase, but I don't think that should put you off at all. Because look at these fixtures: West Ham, Fulham, Leeds, Newcastle. You'd say that he probably gets 2 clean sheets minimum there. But what I like about Saiss is that he often offers a little bit of goal threat as well. So sort of corners, free kicks and stuff. Saiss is one of the first guys who the headers are going to be taken by. So Jimenez and Saiss are going to be scoring the headers from the free kicks, from the corners and stuff like that. So that's why I really like Saiss above someone like Cody. Cody might perhaps get a few more minutes throughout the whole season, but Cody doesn't really offer any goal attacking threat, whereas Saiss really does. He proved that last season. He's already proved it this season. So great run of fixtures, a bit of goal threat, clean sheets, definitely coming the way of Wolves, a defensively solid team anyway. So Saiss just seems like a really good pick, and I really like the look of him a lot. And if I was wildcarding, he'd be coming in. He certainly would be coming in. So let's move on to midfield anyway. And the first guy I've got here is Mo Salah. I think Mo Salah is just such a proven FPL asset that you just have him in, and he's got some okay fixtures. The fixtures aren't amazing, but they're not bad enough to justify taking him out. A player with the quality of Salah is so good that he will score in any game. He's got the penalties as well, so it only takes a hack down in the box, and then Salah's got himself a goal. He's got free kicks as well that could potentially be taken and scoring. So Salah is a really, really nice pick, and he's definitely going to score goals, and he's definitely going to punish people who don't own him, because I know a lot of people are thinking, well, his fixtures are only average, maybe we can go for Sterling or someone like that, but I don't know if I fancy any doubling or tripling up on Man City just yet, especially the premium guys. I mean, you could do it, but I prefer to have Salah. If you've got an opportunity to have Salah, let's mix up a little bit with the teams that you're invested in, rather than going all in one. And I think you do have to have a Liverpool attacker, and there's only real one that I would ever consider, and that is Salah. So we're in on Salah. So next up on De Bruyne, and I guess De Bruyne is probably the first name I wrote down when I was drawing up this draft, just because he's just so amazing, isn't he? He really is amazing. And now that he's going to be playing in an advanced position, I've spoken a little bit about this before, so I won't go on too much. But because he's going to be playing in a more of an attacking role, with sort of 2 defensive midfielders behind him to cover him, it's going to give him a lot more freedom to get involved in the attacks, create more chances, shoot more. I think in his first game that he played, just last week, just on Monday against Wolves, he was shooting more than Sterling, he was creating more chances than Sterling. So out of the 2, I'm immediately looking towards De Bruyne. And although there are some very nice attacks going on for Man City down that left wing, obviously falling to Sterling, De Bruyne, even in his midfield role, seems to be attacking, having a lot more attacking options as well. And it's when De Bruyne's got the ball, he's going to be the one passing to Sterling to score the goal, but he'll also be passing to Mahrez on the right wing when he's back, passing to Jesus in the forwards position as well. So he's going to be getting lots of points. He's going to be taking free kicks. He's going to be taking penalties as well, De Bruyne. So that he's just offering so much. He was the top scoring player last season, full stop. So that was awesome as well. So he's got so many points in his favour. I do think he's a player that you can sort of captain pretty much in any individual game week. He's always going to be a captaincy option, unlike some sorts of like Aubameyang or maybe some of the like Kane or someone. They're not going to be a captaincy option every single game. Salah might arguably is a captaincy consideration every game, but De Bruyne is always going to give you that fallback option. If you can't decide your captain, De Bruyne is a good safe pick in pretty much any game week. So yeah, definitely worth having it in your team. Next up is Heung-min Son. I mean, I don't think Heung-min Son will ever get a score close to 24 points or whatever it was, especially against these teams that are going to be sitting back and defending a little bit deeper, which Southampton obviously didn't do, allowing Spurs to counter-attack really effectively. But, Son does obviously still have a couple of goals in him. And I know that there is no way that I could sell you a wildcard team without including Son. Just because he scored 4 goals last week. And at some point, you kind of have to say, okay, forget the statistics, forget the logic, forget the opposition. He scored 4 goals last week, so just put him in your team and get on with it. But if that is the start of a good hot streak of form, and we're getting on there early, then Son is very much worth having in your team. Newcastle, like I said, I do think they're going to defend a lot deeper than Southampton did, which won't allow Spurs to get quite so many goals. But again, Son is a captaincy option. If you really, really, really think that he's going to do, even half as well as he did last week in terms of points, then he's definitely a captaincy option. So yeah, he's definitely a good option. I think there are other options that we could potentially go for. We could maybe move to Pulisic if Pulisic comes good, Ziyech if Ziyech comes good. So there are other options if it doesn't go well. And I don't like to base long-term decisions off the one game week. But like I said, the one game week, he scored 4 goals. So it's very difficult to not include him in any wildcard team, really, when you've got this opportunity to bring him in for free, essentially. So yeah, it's hard to justify not putting him in, and that's why he's in my team. But if you're not on a wild card and you're just sort of watching this video for research purposes and you're thinking, I sort of wish I had Son, I don't think you need to panic about not having Son based on one game week. If he scores like another 4 this game week, or even another 1 or 1 goal and an assist or something like that, then you can perhaps start saying, okay, this is form. Son is on form. Let's get him in the team. But I don't think it's panic stations yet. But like I said, you've got to include him in a wildcard. And finally, in midfield, we've got another fairly expensive midfielder in Zaha. So I sort of spread the cost in this team a lot more than I have in my actual main team, which I think was perhaps one of my mistakes going into the start of this season. Perhaps what let me down so far, and perhaps that's a similar thing to some of you guys. So yes, Zaha, 7.1 million he's up to now, 15% ownership. So he's actually one of the lower ownership players in this team. At 15%, but he started off really, really well. Zaha, he seems to be central to the attack, the attacks. Obviously, Harvey Barnes at Leicester is offering a bit more attacking threat. But James Rodriguez is offering a little bit more creative threat, sort of assists potential kind of thing. But Zaha finds a good blend between the two, a little bit of attacking threat, a little bit of assist potential as well there. And I really like the look of his stats so far. And more than anything, I really like the look of Crystal Palace's form, because they've started really well. And if they can keep that going, then this is really good stuff, particularly after sort of game week 5, I believe. Oh, hang on, what are we on now? We're on 3, 4, 5. Yeah, game week 5, he plays Brighton and then Fulham. And then sort of that after that is sort of a run of some really, really nice fixtures. So it's not only that Crystal Palace would be informed by that point, but also they'll have some favourable fixtures. And you never know, they could be the surprise packet of the season. And Zaha is sort of their main guy, isn't he? He's the main man at Crystal Palace, so he's going to be taking sort of penalties. He's going to be the player that the midfielders will be looking for. They'll be looking for Zaha, who's potentially essentially playing up front right now, playing as a striker. So out of position, arguably there, you could say as well. So yeah, lots of positives for Zaha, and yeah, definitely worth putting in your team, definitely. But like I said, there are other options you could go for. Harvey Barnes, you could go for James Rodriguez if you can find the money elsewhere. Yeah, why not? But yeah, I'll put Zaha in this team. So moving on to the forwards, and we're starting off with Jimenez. Jimenez, like Saiss, has just got this beautiful run of fixtures. West Ham sort of in turmoil at the moment. Fulham letting in so many goals. Leeds, even though Leeds kind of look good going forward, they're playing so bombardier. They're throwing everything at the wall that they're leaving some gaps in defence, which Jimenez could obviously exploit. And then Newcastle, you never really know what Newcastle are going to turn up. Are they going to be good defensively? Are they going to be bad defensively? We don't really know, but they're always a team that is beatable, even if it's not by too many goals. So yeah, some really, really, really nice fixtures there. Jimenez has also just, started this season proving once again that he's a very consistent player. He's the postman. He always delivers. And I do expect him to deliver pretty consistently through this run of really nice fixtures. So it'll be really nice to pick you up some points. You don't need to worry about captaining him or anything like that. You probably wouldn't captain him at all during those games. But he'll pick you up those points every single week. And you'll be really pleased with the results. Next up is Dominic Cavett-Lewin. And Dominic Cavett-Lewin, another player who's had an absolutely fantastic start. He's looked really lively. He's really sort of benefiting from this new bunch of creative players around him. Everton's brand new midfield, essentially, is just really, really, really good for Dominic Cavett-Lewin, who's playing as a lone striker with sort of, 5 midfielders around him looking for him. So Dominic Cavett-Lewin can finish off those chances, and that's really, really good when you're looking for forwards. Often, a good sign of a forward is if they're a lone forward, because all of the goals are going to be, well, not all of the goals, but the team will be looking for that central striker. Now, Dominic Cavett-Lewin has a lot in his locker. He could be a bit of a poacher. He can finish sort of inside the box. He can sort of get his head on the end of balls and scores headers. So, he's got a lot of things going for him, and a new midfield around him that's doing really well. Really good start for Everton. I think we've all been impressed by Everton so far. And let's see what they can do going forward. Crystal Palace might be a bit of a banana skin, but you've got Brighton there. Liverpool, derby matches always throw up a bit more goals, a bit more surprises than usual. So don't worry about, Dominic Cavett-Lewin can't score against Liverpool, because I think he definitely can. And then Southampton, which obviously we know have not been great so far, is the fourth fixture there. So some good fixtures coming up, some good form from Dominic Cavett-Lewin and the rest of the Everton guys. So it sort of covers not having James Rodriguez as well, having Dominic Cavett-Lewin there. So a really good pick. And then finally, we've got a slightly budget option in Bamford. So Bamford only 5.7 million. He was 5.5 at the start, but as I sort of alluded to earlier, Leeds sort of really, really bombing forward, really, really looking to attack. And even if it's leaving holes in the defence, they really just want to score goals. And Bamford, I've heard this before, that Bamford is untouchable. He's never going to leave the starting 11, so he's like the most nailed-on player. And actually, he started off okay. We sort of thought, was he up to the speed of Premier League? Is he a Premier League quality player? And it turns out, maybe he can do it. Maybe that's more credit to the players around him. I don't know, but He's the main striker, the solo striker in a really attacking team, which again really positive, and it's already proven he's already proven his worth as an FPL asset, because he's getting points. He's getting points on the board, and fixtures a little bit of a mixed bag, but 5.7 million is a really, really good price for Bamford, so that's why he's in this team. And we'll go onto the bench, and then we'll talk about areas that you could potentially downgrade if you can't afford this team. But on the bench, I've started off with Forster. Now, a bit of an interesting one, I know, because you probably would think, just go for one of Aston Villa's backup goalkeepers, surely. But no, I've gone for Forster. The reason I've gone for him is because with McCarthy, I know Southampton's defensively haven't started very well, which means potentially, at some point, if McCarthy really isn't doing very well, things really take a downward turn, I can sort of foresee Forster coming into that team and replacing McCarthy and becoming the number one goalkeeper there at Southampton. So it's a bit speculative, but I quite like doing it on your bench. Players that you're not going to play anyway, you can be a little bit speculative, you can have a little bit of fun with it. So that's sort of what I've done there. Number one on the bench there is Lamptey. Lamptey has started off really well. I know he picked up a minor knock, but I think he's going to be okay long term. He could have had an absolute haul last game. Obviously, he was subbed off before he managed to get the clean sheet bonus. But had he got that clean sheet bonus, he could have been looking at a lot of points with the assist and bonus points as well. So, Lamptey is just bombing so far forward. He's playing essentially as a right winger, really, even though he's listed as a defender. So, he's providing some really good value there. And out of the 4.5 million defenders, he's sort of the guy I've got my eye on the most right now, and particularly if you don't have Ryan in goal, because we probably wouldn't want to double up on the Brighton defence. But if you don't have Ryan in goal, which I've not in this team, I've got Martinez, Lamptey's a really good option there, and he could potentially pick up some clean sheets, potentially pick up some assists. He's got a lot of assist potential there with him, like I say, bombing so far forward up the pitch. He's looking really, really positive, a really, really good player to have in your team. So, great to watch. Sometimes defenders, particularly 4.5 defenders, you're not really expecting very much from. But when you watch Brighton play and Lamptey is on that right midfield and he's bombing forward, it's really great to watch, and it's really it gets you excited a little bit. So I like that a lot, and he's so fast, so quick. But anyway, we'll move on because we're only talking about bench players, for God's sake. But yeah, number 2 bench slot is gone to Burke at Sheffield United. So Sheffield United have signed Burke to play as a striker. A lot of people, when you think about Burke, you think, oh, he's a winger, really, isn't he? But he's now going to be playing as a striker, and he's already played his first game as a striker for Sheffield United. In fact, I think he's played 2 now, if you include cup fixtures, playing in that forward position. So even though he's listed as a midfielder, he's actually going to be the main striker, I guess, or one of 2 main strikers. And Burke sort of provides the pace in the forward. So that's sort of unique in Sheffield United's team. So is he going to be playing a lot of games? I think there's potential for him to get a lot of games. And, if he can get a couple of goals, he could become really, really quite valuable. But again, this is speculative. It's having a lot of fun. This is only a bench player. It's a player that we're not expecting to play. But if we can get a 4.5 million midfielder to a position where they actually become a viable option, think Todd Cantwell of last season. 4.5 million midfielder ended up being a player you could actually play some weeks. And I think Burke does have that potential. Obviously, it's a little bit early to tell right now, but give it a couple of weeks and you never know. Burke only needs to get a goal or an assist and then have a good fixture the next week. And you might think, well, actually, I might put him in my starting 11. It's possible. So, yeah, that's why he's there. And then finally, Ferguson. I'm sticking with Ferguson. I really am doubling down on this one. So, yeah, when Ferguson is finally fit, I do think he is going to play. I know that sort of Ward is going to be starting to play a little bit less. Ferguson is going to come in to replace him, surely, when he's fit. Ferguson is just such a highly rated right back, and he can play sort of left back, he can play centre back. He's so highly rated that I don't see why he's been signed to not play. He will definitely play. I just can't see a situation where he wouldn't play because he's so versatile, he's so highly rated, and he's so young. And Crystal Palace really do need to invest in the young uns, which they're very much aware of as well. So when he is fit in a couple of weeks, it's only going to be like sort of 2-3 weeks. So just have a little patience. It was never going to be starting in your starting 11 anyway. There's not really a 4.4 million defender that you would start in your starting 11 right now, other than maybe Mitchell, I guess. So yeah, just have a little patience and see what happens there, because there is some potential there. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what Ferguson can offer long term. But yeah, again, the bench is sort of a little bit speculative. It's a little bit, let's see what happens. Let's just leave them on the bench and hope that one of them comes good. And if one of them comes good, one of them might become a real gem. And you can sort of afford to do that on your bench when you've got a good starting 11. Lamptey obviously is there as well, which you can potentially rotate onto your starting 11 as well. If you think one of your guys has a really bad game, say you don't want to start Bamford against Man City, for example, you could bring in Lamptey for that game week. I was going to tell you very quickly what players I would sacrifice given the choice, and I guess the main guys I would want to sacrifice would probably be either Rhys James, down to another 4.5 million defender, maybe Ayling, maybe Kyle Walker-Peters. Kyle Walker-Peters offering quite a lot of attacking potential there. But the other option is Zaha. You could bring Zaha down to maybe Phil Foden, which sort of frees up quite a lot of money, actually, if you wanted to do that. So there are a few options. That's what I would probably do. Either take James down, I'd probably leave Sice in, but you could take him down as well to a 4.5 million defender. And you could take Zaha down to Phil Foden, which is, that's sort of the route I would be thinking. But obviously, play around with it. You don't have to choose this exact team. Hopefully, maybe I have helped you pick some players out that you quite like the look of. But yeah, I'm not going to talk about this team too much longer. In terms of captains for this week, you'll have to wait for tomorrow's video for that. If you did enjoy this video, please do give it a big thumbs up if you found it useful at all. Even whether you're on a wildcard, whether you're not on a wildcard, give it a big old thumbs up. And please do consider subscribing if you are new around here. Plenty of FPL content on this channel. I'm making videos pretty much every single day, streams every week. Yeah, it's all to come on the FPL Mate channel. Please do check the description for links to Twitter, Instagram, Patreon, and my mini league as well. I'm posting a lot on Twitter at FPL Mate. So yeah, that's probably worth getting in on that, and sort of I can help give you some little extra information throughout the week in times where I don't quite have enough time to make a video, or it's not quite worthy enough to go into a video kind of thing. So yeah, do check that as well. But I think that's enough for this video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you later, mates. Bye bye.